Hi everyone, welcome to Bariatrics and Tips. This is our Sunday Facebook Live. If you're tuning in today, can you please sign in and just mention something or say hi so I can see everyone who's out here today? That would really be great. Once again, I am your host, Michelle Geeson, and thank you so much for being here. The one thing that we all have in common here is that we have had weight loss surgery. But just because we're given this fantastic tool doesn't mean that we have to feel deprived of eating well. So, the way I see it, food is the center of our universe, whether we like it or not. We need it to live. And I think that we should just do it right. Hey, Liz. Hello. So we're going to do it right. We are going to live large. We are going to cook small. We're going to find flavor in all we do. That is my mission. And I've dedicated myself to making the most of my journey. And I love finding ways to live large while cooking small and finding flavor. So that's the mission of today. We are going to do it Mexican style though. So the moral of the story, even before we are well underway, is that I'm worth it and so are you. And we're not gonna just live and exist. We are gonna live well and we're gonna eat well while we do it. So I am going to be, and if I say it wrong, I'm super sorry, but I'm gonna be your cocinera today, and that is Spanish for chef. We're gonna make some low carb chips and tacos and a brownie bite dessert that will have you feeling anything but deprived. So remember, again, we're cooking small, 1 to 2 servings. So if you are cooking for your family tonight or whenever you decide to do this, you can certainly tweak that recipe accordingly. But for all intended purpose today, I'm just gonna show you 1 to 2 servings. And along the way, hopefully you'll learn some cool tricks and tips as well. Please know that these are my best practices. They're what work for me individually, and I've developed them to fit my needs, and I respect that it might not be for everyone. I always learn from others, and I take what I need, little bits and pieces here and there, and I make it my own. And that's what I am giving you carte blanche to do. You don't have to do everything that I do. You can find your own substitutions. This may not be for everyone, but if you're doubting it or if you have questions, always feel free to loop in your surgeon and or your dietitian, because they're the medical professionals. And if you have specific questions for me, put them down on this message feed right now, because I can see those coming in. If you have questions, load those down. If you have comments, load those down. If I don't address it in today's broadcast, I will make sure that I get them answered for you. And as always, the recipes will be posted in our Facebook group, Bariatrics and Tricks, after today's broadcast. So again, not for everyone, but just get yourself looking outside the box and look at everything the world has to offer you when there's still food. For me, I don't want to lose control. I think we're probably all control freaks in our own right, but it's really important to me that I make the decisions for myself. And because of that, I just don't want to feel deprived of anything. I don't want to say, well, I can't eat that because I had weight loss surgery, or no, that's off limits. The choices I make, the things that I've omitted from my diet, are because I've made that decision. There's no reason you can exist from one day to the next feeling deprived. And we're gonna live. That's what we're gonna do. So let's live right now. But before we get to the cooking demonstration, I wanna focus on this week's spotlight. I wanna recognize Erica Kramer. She had bypass surgery in 2018, and she's lost 170 pounds. She told me that her life is so much easier and she will never go back to the way she was before. I wanted to show you her picture. I will post it later so you can all see it, because I'm not sure if this is gonna be good, but here's her before and after picture. Erica, great job. I'm so proud that you are part of this group and that you are definitely inspiring others. If you guys want to be featured as a spotlight on Facebook Live each Sunday, please feel free to private message me with a picture before and after, just like Erica did, and just a short little bio, 1 or 2 sentences, a couple, and let me know what your trials and tribulations and your successes are, because we need to celebrate the successes. So thank you, Erica. I appreciate it, and I really, really appreciate your support for bariatrics and tips too. So now we get to the good part. We are going to make some chips and salsa, and we're gonna make these Mexican chocolate brownie bites that are super yummy. The first thing that I'm gonna demonstrate are the chips and the taco part of it, and then we'll go to the brownie bite demonstration, and then we'll circle back and we'll just show everything. For those of you who haven't tried the Mr. Tortilla 1-carb tortillas, they're amazing. Mr. Tortilla actually sent me some free samples so I could try for myself and then mention them to you. And they originally gave me a discount code for 10% off, but to be quite honest with you, the emails and the coupons that are coming are better than 10%, so I've just been posting the coupons that I get through my email for you to use. And once you buy from them once, I think you'll be flooded with emails, so you can buy them again. They have something on their website too where they show you that you can store them in the refrigerator and you can put them in the freezer for up to 365 days. So my best practice, in order to get, I think I took advantage of a 30% off coupon and I got free shipping. I ordered just a whole bunch of them and now they're in the freezer. But one of the things that I have made and I've experimented with are not just the tortillas as is, but warming them up in the oven, making little mini taco bowls out of them, making tortilla chips with them. And I've made some amazing mini tacos, some amazing nachos, and a taco bowl recently. So I want to show you those first. It's very, very easy. These are the multigrain. The chips that I'm going to show you are the pico de gallo flavor. You can use either. You don't need any cooking spray, and you don't need any seasoning unless you want that. They actually go into the oven and they bake up beautifully as long as you don't let them overcook. So all I do is I actually do it on a large scale. I take all my tortillas, and I'm gonna move this a little. Hopefully you can see okay. And all I do is take a pizza cutter and I cut them into 4 sections. I cut them into quarters. So they're chips, they look like chips. And then I lay them out, you can see now. I lay them out on a cookie sheet that's lined with parchment paper, and then I bake them at 350 degrees for 6 minutes. At the 6-minute mark, I rotate the cookie sheet so the part that's in the back of the oven comes to the front and vice versa, and then I bake them for another 4 minutes. So it's 10 minutes total, but you want to make sure that you've got that even baking going on. I also put them on the convection oven setting of my oven, and I find that they work out really, really great. So once I do that, they come out of the oven, and I've got these amazing crunchy chips. I mean, they're crunchy. You can hear them snap. And they're really great with salsa. They're really great with salsa verde. I actually have both. I make salsa verde and regular salsa from scratch. And apparently it's Mexican night at the Geeson household tonight too, because my son and his girlfriend requested salsa verde. So I made that very simple recipe if you're interested as well. And I'll make sure that I get that posted today on our group Facebook page. So you can see that the chips are super easy and super convenient, and you can just add them to a plastic bag with a twist tie and you can keep them in the pantry like I have a whole bag in there. But remember, 4 of them would be the equivalent of 1 tortilla. So every 4 chips is only 15 calories and 1 carb, which I think is a pretty good win-win situation. The other thing that I do is I've made actual taco shells out of them. And all I do is take the flattened tortilla and I hang them off the oven And I don't know if I opened the oven for you, but like I just hang them off the grate and then I let them cook for just 3 or 4 minutes. And when you let them cool, they're still soft, but now you've got a taco that you can stuff. And we'll stuff them as soon as we're done at the end, and then you'll see the whole spread. And that'll be good. The other thing that you can do is just lay them flat on in the oven and make like a tostada of sorts. And then if you have these handy dandy aluminum tortilla bowls at home, I know I got these years ago at Bed Bath & Beyond and they're super cheap. I think they're 10 bucks or less. But you can make a little mini taco bowl too. And then you could load that up with your meat and your veggies and you can have a little mini taco. Now I know to the average person, it probably doesn't look like a lot of food, but I'll tell you, as you know, having gastric bypass, even now 6 years later, it is the perfect amount of food. And remember, you always want to just eat until you're about 80% full. And if you don't know what that feels like, the only way that I can describe it is I no longer have that desperate feeling. I no longer feel that I have to put the fork up to my mouth at all. I just feel like I feel super content. And that's how I know. Like, I know that, sure, could I eat more? Yeah. But would I make myself sick? Perhaps. And so I just kind of let it be. And you know, you can gauge yourself because remember, if you're thirsty or if you still want to eat, the 20-minute mark is a great determining factor. After 20 minutes, are you still hungry? Okay, then I eat more. Or after 20 or 30 minutes, do I now feel like I can drink my liquids? And I don't snack between meals. I use that time specifically for my liquid intake. So that's kind of how I gauge as to how I'm full. And so these are really some great ones. I've got the nachos already made and I'll show you those when we're done, but we're gonna move over to our Mexican chocolate brownie bite. And again, I'll have this recipe on Facebook for you. I've got it all written down. I did make a few more modifications today, but they turned out so good. And there's a lot of ingredients, and a lot of the ingredients that are required for this are things that you might want to stock up on in order to develop your, lack of a better word, bariatric pantry. It's a great start to next week's protein powder pantry, because a lot of these things you only need a couple tablespoons here and there. But if you're really excited and willing to experiment with different recipes and protein powder, then I encourage you to develop that protein powder pantry. There's some really great things that you can do with it, things that I'm learning all the time just by reading reference books and surfing the internet and knowing what my base recipes are. This is just such a great one. The nutritional facts per one piece of these brownies are 75 calories, 1.5 grams of fat, 6.6 carbs, and 13 grams of protein, well, 13.1. So they're really a great source of nourishment and they will keep you satisfied. A nice way to end a meal for sure. And for under 100 calories, I think that's a fantastic addition to a meal or a fantastic snack if you decide to have a snack. So I'm gonna go through, I've got all the ingredients pre-portioned just so that we don't run over in time. And you don't even need a mixing bowl. You're gonna pour these right into your food processor, Cuisinart, or your Ninja, or your blender, or if you don't have any of those, you can put it into a bowl and then just use a mixer or an immersion blender. But I'm gonna put everything in my Cuisinart because it is one of my favorite gadgets in the kitchen. I made my salsa verde with it. I made my regular salsa with it. I do a lot of baking, whether it's bariatric baking or family baking. I use this thing all the time and it's a great investment. So once again, I'm gonna go through, I'll name everything off. I don't know if you can see it right here. It might not be in the realm of the camera, but I'll read everything off to you. The first 3 ingredients are the wet ingredients, and I actually have them all combined into 1 cup. They're already pre-measured, but we're gonna start off with 3/4 of a cup of egg whites, a 1/2 cup of pure pumpkin, and a cup of a protein shake. So it can be any kind of protein shake. I am using Fairlife vanilla. And actually there's a cup in here. I already pre-portioned it. So I'm gonna put my 3 wet ingredients in first. That's my egg whites and pumpkin puree. And then this is, I'll shake it. And then this is my vanilla protein shake, 1 cup. If you don't have that in the house, you can use regular milk. You can use almond milk. The recipe is milk, so have at it. Now we're gonna go to 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk. If you're not familiar with what psyllium husk is, it's a powder and it's pure fiber. And I first got turned onto it when I was trying to regulate myself after bariatric surgery. I would take some Crystal Light, an 8-ounce glass of Crystal Light, and I would put it into a shaker, and then I would add my psyllium husk and shake it all up. If you let it sit, it will congeal and it'll get thick. And that's what it is. That's what it acts as in this recipe, a thickening agent. So you have some girth to the brownies. And it's just a great thing to work with because it's all fiber, low in calories. And if you want any more information on it, just Google psyllium husk. PSY is how it starts. Or I can certainly put a link on our Facebook group page. So we've got 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk. We've got 6 tablespoons of hemp protein powder. It's kind of like a darkish green, and it's very chock full of protein. It's really good stuff. I definitely, if you're gonna develop your protein powder pantry, this is definitely one to have. So I'm gonna put that in. And then the next thing we're gonna use is cocoa powder. You can use any kind of cocoa powder you want. I do have Hershey's in the house and I buy it at Sam's Club because it's a lot more cost effective than buying it here at the local grocery store, which is Meijer. But this is called Jet Black Cocoa Powder. And I bought it on Amazon and it is jet black. It's gorgeous and it's gonna make the brownies jet black, and it's just such a pretty, classy looking color. So I'm gonna add my 3 tablespoons of jet black cocoa, and then a 1/4 cup of sugar substitute. This is Splenda sugar granules, very low calories. You can use whatever sugar substitute you like best. Now we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of pea protein. Pea protein it varies in the colors that you can get. If you're looking to cultivate your protein powder pantry, spend some time at your grocery store, your local health food store, or even on Amazon, but make sure you look at the ingredients because I'll go over this in next week's protein powder pantry episode. But it's very important that you're looking at the ingredients because the more ingredients that are in the protein powder, the more refined it essentially is. So then you're looking at extra calories, extra carbs, probably extra fat, and maybe even a reduced protein count. So this is really good. I feel that I chose a very good pea protein powder for the money that I spent. I am gonna further fortify my brownies with some Gene Pro. It's not necessary. The nutrition facts that I gave you and the nutritional facts that will be on my group Facebook page are going to be including this Gene Pro. It just adds like 110 calories, but it ups the protein tremendously, and it'll help that small little brownie bite give you a lot of bulk and make you a lot more sated than if it wasn't in there. So I definitely recommend it. Then we're going to use 2 tablespoons of brown rice protein powder. It's made from the sprout of the brown rice, and so you don't have the carbs that normally are associated with white rice, or even brown rice for that matter. It's a really nice source of protein. So we're gonna put that in there. And then we're gonna get to our spices. This is fun because I've worked on this, and I started with just using the cinnamon that's required and the chili powder that's required, but I added a little bit more cinnamon, a little bit more chili powder, and then I introduced instant coffee into the mix. And let me tell you, the instant coffee, I used instant espresso. It is amazing. It adds a new dimension, a new flavor to this brownie, and I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised. So we're gonna do 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. We are gonna do 1 tablespoon of espresso coffee. And I know that I already had someone ask, and I'm gonna show you real quick. I bought this at my local Cafe Bustelo. It is a really nice, moderately priced brand of instant coffee espresso. And so that's kind of my favorite right now, and I like to do that. And then we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of red chili powder. Don't worry, if you can't handle spices, it's no problem, because it gives it flavor and maybe just like a subtle kick, but it's not gonna like explode your head off your neck. So it's really, really nice. The last ingredient that we're gonna use are real milk chocolate chips, but we're gonna use this separately, and we're gonna use this to kind of drizzle over the top. I found that it helps because, first of all, a tablespoon of chocolate chips over the course of the entire recipe really doesn't add much calories or even fat to each serving size, but it gives it like an extra sweet dimension, and it tastes decadent. And remember, I'm worth it and so are you, so nah. All right, so now we've got all of our stuff in here. We've got our wet ingredients and we've got our dry ingredients, and we're basically gonna pulverize this. It's gonna get really thick because of the psyllium husk, and I'm using that psyllium husk kind of in place of the flour because it's a thickening agent. So when it comes out, it's gonna look like black sludge, but it is the best black sludge that I have ever tasted. So here we go, okay? I'm gonna turn it on, and I'm just gonna let it whirl for a little bit. You'll be able to gauge how long you need to mix it for, but it mixes up really, really nice. Hopefully you can still hear me okay. Just about done. And sometimes what I like to do is make sure that I scrape the sides, and then I give it another mix, and it's looking really, really good. It is blacker than night. Look at that. That's the batter. I'm gonna let it whip for just a little bit more. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. All right. And I already have the oven preheated to 325 degrees. We are gonna bake it for 35 minutes or until a toothpick comes out of the center clean. And then we're gonna take it out. I like to cool mine on a baking rack. That way it cools from the bottom as well as the top. You can certainly gauge it accordingly. But, oh, and you know what, before I do this, you want to lavishly spray even if it's nonstick, I would still encourage spraying a pan with cooking spray. All right. And then you just kind of pour everything on in, every last drop. These have become, this is the 3rd batch that I've made. They freeze really well. So it's gonna make 16 pieces. So I know that we're technically not cooking small when it comes to this, but if I would have done like a rectangle baker, it would have been double that. So I definitely scaled it down a little bit, and they have really good freezability. So I don't think that we have to penalize us for cooking just a little bit larger than what we should be. I did have my son try it the other day. He came home from work. This was funny. He came home from work. Maybe he was just hungry, but he did. He came home from work and he saw the brownies, and they have curb appeal because they've got melted chocolate drizzled on the top. And he's like, "Mom, what are these?" And I said, I was trying to be mischievous. I'm like, "They're brownies." And he's like, "Can I have one?" And I said, "Yeah, you can have one. There's a chance you may like them." And before I could say there's a chance you may not, he's like, "Oh God, Mom, it's one of these healthy things you're cooking." I'm like, "Adam, just to have an open mind, try it. You might like it." So he tries it and he's like, "Wow, Mom." He's like, "I like the consistency. It's thick, but it's moist." And I said, "Yeah, go on." And he ended up eating the whole thing and he really, really liked it. So that gives me tremendous hope. He actually put something into his body that was relatively decent. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just spreading it evenly so it cooks evenly. And I've got these done already behind me. So I'm gonna put this in the oven to bake, and then I'm gonna show you the product because we're going to see them right away. It's really good batter. I mean, really good batter. So once again, 325 degrees. I'm gonna show you up close. Hopefully you can see it okay. And pop that in, set the timer. So now I've got that going. Now I'm gonna show you our fiesta. These are the brownies that I just made. And they're beautiful. They've got milk chocolate drizzled on them. If you see them, tell me that you like them. I need compliments. But they really did turn out great. And more to the point, they taste great. They've got the curb appeal of a bakery treat. And they've got the nutritional content that we are all looking for. And after one brownie, I have no doubt that you'll be as satisfied as I am. The last thing that I want to show you is my nacho platter. And this is made using 8 chips. So those are 2 tortillas. So the chips I have here are 30 calories and 2 carbs. I put seasoned ground turkey. I've got tomatoes, shredded cheese, shredded lettuce, homemade guacamole, and it's super easy. A thing about guacamole is if you buy it at the store, whether it's at the deli or prepackaged, or even if you get it at a restaurant, they tend to do a mixture of avocado, sour cream, and or mayonnaise. And they do that because it's cheaper for them to mass produce it. But if you're anything like me, I don't want the mayonnaise and I don't want the sour cream. Maybe in another life I did, but I don't need the fat grams and I don't need the calories and I don't want to be throwing up all night long. So everything that I put in here, it's just avocado mashed up with a potato masher, diced tomatoes, I like Roma tomatoes, salt, pepper, and lemon juice to keep it from browning. I have cilantro. The one thing that I did forget to cut was purple onion. That's my favorite, but I made a whole thing of salsa verde. Salsa verde is super easy. You can buy the tomatillos at the store, and I do get them here locally at Meijer for those of you that shop at Meijer. I think they're $1.99 a pound, and they basically look like green tomatoes, but they have like a casing on them that you peel off, almost like a husk. And you boil them with a couple of jalapenos, however many jalapenos you want, depending on how spicy you want it. You let them boil in a pot of water, and then you drain the water and throw them in your Ninja or your Cuisinart, and this is what you get. And then you just add a little bit of salt, and it is to die for. I absolutely love it. Some people put cumin in it, and I love cumin, and I don't think there's any such thing as too much cumin, but you can put what you want in it. Again, this is what works for me. The beauty of these recipes is that you can tweak them and you can make them what you want, and you can take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you can have your own recipe that fits your needs and the needs of your family as well. But it'd be really, really easy to assemble your taco, and all you have to do is take these tacos that I cooked, remember, face side down in the oven, and you can add your beef. I actually like, this isn't super hot right now, but I actually like to put the cheese on the bottom of the taco shell, because then when you put the hot meat on top of it, it will automatically melt that. So there's a really good tricks and tips for you. But right now, I'm just gonna put it like that, maybe a few tomatoes, some cilantro, because I love cilantro, some shredded lettuce, and you can even top it with some guacamole. So now, tell me that doesn't look amazing. I mean, there's no way that I could eat a couple of these and feel deprived after. This is living, not existing, and it's just great stuff. You could do the same thing for the tostada, and you can put your cheese, like your cheese on, and then your meat that will melt it. Whoops. And then your tomatoes. Oh, I have olives too. Black olives, lettuce. I got the cheese, I got the cilantro. So you can be really creative. And then the nachos, you can throw these in the microwave and get the cheese all melted and stuff like that. So lots of different options for these Mr. Tortilla. And again, they look like this. The only way to buy these is through the mail. I believe they charge $9 to ship. And so ideally, if you place a larger order, you may get free shipping, or at least it'll be worth the $9 ship. I think they're $4.99 a bag. I've got a coupon. I just saw it in my email, so I will post that later if anyone's interested. You can also use the outer aisle cauliflower thins. You can make those into chips. You can make those into tacos. You can make those into nachos. There's so many different things you can do. You can make burritos and just make some enchilada sauce, and then, or the other thing that you can do is you can get a little deep dish baker. I've got a couple mini ones, cast iron skillets, and you can actually rip these tortillas into strips, and you can make a Mexican lasagna with them too. And that's amazing too. Look at all the things that we have done with these tortillas. Tacos, tostados, chips and salsa, nachos, veggie lasagna. 5 things with one kind of tortilla. I'd say that's pretty successful and well worth the money. And so I hope that this challenges you to really think outside of the taco shell and make a meal that you can take pride in and that you can talk about. And one of the things that I hear all the time, whether I'm at school or with family, is that they say, well, can you eat that? Or can you have this? Or can you have that? And I try not to be a smart aleck. I always say, I can have whatever I want. I'm choosing to have this, or I'm not choosing to have that. Again, I stay in control. I decide what I put in my mouth, and I am the owner, and I'm accountable for my actions. And all these actions today all go toward just a really healthy me. And so for that, I'm really proud. And I hope that you are too. And I hope that you take pride in the person that you've become or the work in progress that you are. There are so many ways to live large and cook small and find flavor in all you do. And I promise I'll be along for the ride as long as I can. It's a lot of fun for me. I love going to the grocery store. It's an adventure. I like taking my time, looking at the aisles, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. I like putting bariatric myths to the wayside. I hate when someone tells me that I can't have something, or someone tells me that I shouldn't have something, because this is my journey and I know what I need to do, and you guys can all do it. It's an amazing world we live in, despite any of the weirdness that's going on right now, when you know that you can remain in control and eat the things that you want to eat. So some upcoming events before I let you go. Next week, again, Protein Powder Pantry, March 7th at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. I'm going to show you a couple of my favorites using protein powder. And then on March 14th, Viva Italia. And in this cooking demonstration, we are going to make sugar-free gelato and a couple of other dishes that I have up my sleeve. I'll get some teasers out soon. Remember that I'm on all realms of social media. We've got our YouTube channel. We've got TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook group page. Please feel free to share this with your friends. If your friends haven't had weight loss surgery, still share it with them. It's all about eating healthy and making great choices. And sure, this is a weight loss surgery page, but anyone who's looking to make some change could really stand a lesson learned from a great group of bariatric patients like us, if you ask me. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a little something today. I'm your cocinera. I'm Michelle Geeson with Bariatrics and Tips, and I thank you for being here, okay? Have a great rest of the Sunday. Eat well. Bye-bye.